What would be my favourite session? I'd say maybe like a 150, 120 down, or even like kind of in the season when you do like a time trial 300. I enjoy those sessions.
No, that's interesting because all the faster athletes that we've done, and I say that because we've had a jumper on there as well. They've always said, "Oh, it's like block work. It's the fly 30s and stuff like that." And you're the only person that's gone and said like a 150 or a time trial 300. So
yeah, do you know what? Because when you can slap down a proper fast 300 or 150, you know you're in shape. Yeah. With blocks and stuff, I mean, I don't really enjoy blocks, but with blocks and flying 30s and stuff, yeah, you can you get a glimpse, but it's not. There's so many people out there that can get out the blocks to 20 and then suddenly think they're in 9-9 shape and then go around 10-8. Yeah. Or there's people that can run a couple of fast flying 30s and they think, yeah. Whereas if I go and drop a 32 low in a 300, I know I'm ready to roll. But if I drop off 15-0, 15 dead 150, I know I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So that's probably why I enjoy those sessions. Yeah.
Why don't you like block work?
Say that again?
I heard you say you don't like block work, and for a sprinter, that's interesting. Yeah. Why don't you like block work? That's like part of your bread and butter, no?
Yeah, because you know what? Because I think my start's always been so inconsistent, and obviously I've worked on it. But because I've always kind of done the twos before, this isn't something a professional athlete should say. But like I said, I'm honest. I've not really kind of focused on it, and for some reason, when I'm on the bend, I've always been able to get out of the blocks, not a problem. Like I don't know but every time I've been in a two, you see me blast the bend. I come out of the blocks. Yeah. But then you book me 100, and it's like 50-50. So I don't know if that's psychological or what. But I started. These are one of the things I started to really work on going into 2017. I started nailing some block session. I was like, woo, people are gonna be in trouble. But yeah, didn't happen.
I mean, like with most sports, it is all mental. Like it is a mental thing, but I know a few athletes as well who say, when I do the 100, my start it's not the same, but then I go do the 2, and you would never believe that it's the same person. So I don't know, maybe it's like generally a thing, or it's just one of those, like it's one of those days. Sorry, I'm sitting in a place where I'm trying to avoid the sun, so if I move around, just don't worry. But yeah, like I think it's interesting to know that like as sprinters you have that drop in between your performances where you can have a great 100 and a semi-okay 200, or a great 200 start and then the 100 it's not as great, because that must kind of play with you mentally as well, because like, why can't I transfer this to this?
Yeah, I mean, again, number one, I think definitely I think it's psychological, because I think when you're doing the 200, you're aware that you don't really have to get out the blocks as good as you might in 100. So maybe you're more relaxed, and then maybe because you're more relaxed, therefore you get out every time in the 200. Whereas in the 100, obviously you're aware that it's not a be all and end all, but you need to set your race up correctly. But saying that, I mean, it was 50-50. Sometimes if I set my race up nice, boom, like I'd get out and I knew that if I was with anybody to 10, 20 meters, then I'm in a good position, because I'm not known as being a starter. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely psychological, and it didn't really play on my mind. I was just aware of it, but these are the things that I was trying to tune going into 2017.
Is there a particular training partner that you've had in the past that's made you say, right, okay, cool, I'm with them, so I know it's getting better?
Nobody in particular. It's kind of like, who can start, and they get, like, for example, like every year we'd go to South Africa in January. I'd say probably from 2013 up until 2016, whatever. And then it started becoming Tenerife. But in January, I'd do block sessions with somebody like, I don't know, for example, Harry or somebody like that, right? And they would normally kill me. For some reason, in January, my body just isn't firing. So I'd be fit and conditioned and shape, and I could run longer stuff, but they literally destroy me to that. We do 30-meter block sessions, and I'd be 5 meters back. But I always expected it, because I knew come season, once the spring starts, something just changed in me, and I'd be able to compete. But this January, not this January I crashed in Tenerife that year. I was actually getting out of the blocks with a couple of people, known starters. And I was like, all right, if I'm getting out of the blocks with these guys now in January, when I know I'm never firing in January, and I haven't really kind of changed too much, I've just focused more on kind of the blocks and the emphasis of being a 100-meter runner and what's going to happen in the spring. So that's kind of how I gauged myself. And yeah, there was nobody in particular. I just knew that if I could keep up with certain people, I'd be nice.
Does that relate to, obviously some people being being indoor runners? Because I remember like, I never used to like indoors. For some reason, I just never liked indoors. Could that be something like, did you like indoors, or was it just like outdoors summer, that's my thing?
I loved indoors, yeah. And I was very successful as a junior indoors. I've got quite a few national titles and stuff indoors, over 60 under 2. But as a senior athlete, I knew that the indoors didn't really mean nothing. You could win a indoor European or world indoor medal or whatever the case may be, and you could get a good contract, make good money, but it doesn't necessarily translate to outdoors. And once the outdoor season starts, people forget about the indoors. So my thing was, my 60-meter PB is in that class. I think it's 667 or something. My PB is, but if you knew why I ran 667, then you'd understand why. Because when I do the odd indoor race, whether it was even the trials or whether it was just a one-off race in indoors, I never ever ever tapered or trained for it. So I'd stay in my winter program, and then I'd use it as just kind of a tester to see where I was at. Right. So a lot of people would go there. They'd run fast, great for them. And sometimes we translate outdoors as well. But I'd never go there and come back disheartened, because I'd be like, right, if I'm running 6.6 now and I know I'm still doing 300s and 250s and I'm not a starter, I'm in good shape. So I always invested and didn't want to cut out those 4 or 5 weeks of training. I'd be thinking about the outdoor season, the bigger picture.
Did you ever get your coach telling you that, or was that an intrinsic thing? Did you think that yourself? Because some people might be waiting for, your coach to tell you, oh yeah, you're in better shape for the outdoors, or you're prepping for this. Or did you always just think, nah, I prefer the outdoors, I like the outdoors, the indoor is just what it is?
Yeah, I just knew there was more rewards for outdoors. I didn't want to risk kind of missing a big block of my training. As much as I love to do the indoors, it was just, for me, the outdoors was way more important. So I was fortunate, you know what, I'll test the water, see what shape I'm in, but I'm not gonna take anything from it. I just want to see where I'm at. And it's kind of like, yeah, I would have liked to have competed indoors, but it weren't worth me getting outdoors and thinking, oh, you know what, if I didn't cut this training, maybe I would have done this. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I run 6.5. That means I'm gonna run 9.9. Easy.
It don't mean anything, man. It don't mean anything.